My dear students, in this class, let us learn about the types of eggs. All the animals and all the organisms should start their life as germ cells. That means in the form of spermatozoa and ova. Spermatozoa are the male gametes, whereas ova are the female gametes. In some animals, these two gametes are released into the external medium like water, whereas in some other animals, the sperms are released into the vagina of the female. So, like that, depending on the location of fertilization, it is classified as external fertilization and internal fertilization. Whatever may be the location, mode of fertilization, the gametes should be produced in the form of spermatozoa and ova. Once the union of the gametes takes place in the process of fertilization, a unicellular structure, namely zygote, is formed and it undergoes some sort of division, forming blastomeres. Later, it is modified, transformed, metamorphosed into the morula, followed by blastula, gastrula, then organogenesis will also take place. But in order to sustain the organism during this process of development, the egg will have a definite resource of preserved material, reserved food material by name yolk. So, yolk is the material that serves as reserve food material for the developing embryo inside the egg. So, depending on the presence of yolk, depending on the quantity of yolk and also distribution of yolk, the eggs are classified into different categories. So, the criteria for the classification of eggs is, one is the quantity of yolk present inside the egg, and another one is distribution of the yolk in the cytoplasm of the egg. So, coming to the nature of the yolk, yolk is technically called vital line, and the production of yolk or synthesis of yolk is called vitallogenesis. And the very purpose of yolk is to sustain the developing embryo as a reserve food material. So, yolk is nothing but a reserve food material. This yolk is of two types, namely white yolk and yellow yolk. White yolk is called albumin, whereas yellow yolk is called vitellin. This is also called, of course, lecithin. Now, let us go into the details how these eggs are classified basing on the quantity of yolk and also distribution of yolk. Ovum is the unfertilized egg. Ovum is always larger than spermatozoa in all species. So, normally ova are produced in less numbers when compared to the spermatozoa. In case of human being, only a single ovum is produced during a month. But ovum is larger when compared to the spermatozoa. Spermatozoa are produced in greater numbers and ovum is normally larger. This spatial economics and numerical economics is totally based on the probability of the fertilization. To increase the chances of fertilization, ova has become bigger and the spermatozoa are produced in larger quantities or greater quantities. Ovum normally contains reserve food material in the form of yolk. You don't find such yolk material in the spermatozoa because there is no space in the spermatozoa because of its size. Whereas ovum being bigger, it contains copious quantities of cytoplasm along with reserve food material, namely yolk. Yolk is called vital line. Synthesis of yolk is called vitallogenesis. Egg laying animals are called oviparous. Animals giving birth to young ones are called viviparous. Normally, in case of the eggs laid by oviparous animals, there is need to have more quantity of yolk. Whereas viviparous animals, because they are giving birth directly to the young ones, and also during the gestation period, that means during the process of uterine development, the embryo receives the food material nutrients from the placenta. So in case of viviparous animals, where the development of the embryo takes place inside the uterus, the sustenance of the embryo will be taken care of by placental connection, through which the food material flows from mother to the embryo. So there is no need of much yolk in case of the ova released by the viviparous animals, of course. Whereas the eggs laid by oviparous animals contain copious quantities of yolk material, because there is no possibility for developing placenta. So this egg being a closed system, it has to depend on something internal factor like reserve food material that is stored inside. So organisms that directly give birth to underdeveloped larval stages are called ovoviviparous. So oviparous animals are egg-laying animals. Viviparous animals are the animals that give birth to young ones directly, where there is some sort of connection called placenta. And organisms, there are certain organisms which give birth to underdeveloped larval stages. That means they are not laying eggs, and also they are not giving birth to the full-fledged young ones, but they are laying underdeveloped larval stages. Such condition, which is in between oviparous and viviparous nature, is called, such animals are called ovoviviparous animals. The best example for ovoviviparous animals is Wuchereria bancrophiti, which produces microfilaria larvae. And coming to the oviparity, birds are the best example along with certain reptiles, of course. Coming to viviparous nature, mammals are the best example for viviparity. And yolk is classified into white yolk, which is also called albumin, and yellow yolk, which is also called vitellin. And here you can see the structure of yolk and structure of egg along with the distribution of the white yolk and yellow yolk. Here you can see how yolk is distributed, and this is the blastodisc area, and this is egg white. So egg white is just arranged like this. And of course this is surrounded by different layers like a cuticle, shell, outer shell membrane, inner shell membrane, like that. Eggs are classified based on two criteria. One is quantity of yolk that is present inside, and distribution of the yolk. Based on distribution of yolk and the quantity of yolk, eggs are classified. Now let us see, let us try to classify the eggs first based on the quantity. That means whether more quantity is present or less quantity is present. So let me reiterate the fact that eggs are classified based on the presence, quantity and distribution of the yolk material. Now let us see the classification of eggs based on the quantity. If the eggs lack yolk, that means if the yolk content is totally absent, such eggs are called alecital eggs. They do not contain yolk. These are normally viviparous animals where young ones are fed through placenta. That means alecital eggs, alecital ova are found in the viviparous animals, because in case of viviparous animals, as I already told, there is one connection called placenta that is present, that is established, that is manifested between the uterus of the mother and the developing embryo. It will take care of the day-to-day nutritive needs of the embryo. So there is no need of yolk. Hence those eggs lack yolk. Such eggs are called alecital eggs. Best example is mammals. Microlecital. These eggs contain very little yolk. Of course these are as good as alecital, but to be more specific, alecital eggs are characterized by the total absence of yolk, whereas microlecital eggs are characterized by little quantity of yolk. Best example for microlecital eggs is the eggs of Herdmania, which is a urochordate, Amphioxus, which is a cephalochordate, and sea urchin, which is echinodermate. And there is another category, namely mesolecital eggs. Mesolecital eggs are those eggs which contain moderate quantity of yolk. That means within the cytoplasm of the egg, if there is moderate quantity of the yolk, that is called mesolicithal egg. Best example is the eggs of frogs and toads. Mega means big, copious, greater. Megalithical eggs are those eggs which contain greater quantities of yolk or copious quantities of yolk. These are also known as macrolithical, of course, or polylithical. The best example is the eggs laid by reptiles, birds, and prototherians. Prototherians are the egg laying mammals. So, normally mammals are viviparous, but there is a special category of the mammals which are branded as prototherians, which are named as prototherians. These are the oviparous mammals. So, the eggs of reptiles, birds, and prototherians contain copious quantities of yolk material. You know, the egg of a hen, it contains copious quantity of yolk. As a result, you prepare omelette by using that. In fact, that yolk is not meant for preparing or manufacturing or cooking omelettes. That yolk content is meant for the food, reserve food for the developing embryo inside the egg. So, that is about the megalithical eggs. And so, based on the quantity of the yolk material, we have classified the eggs into alithical, microlithical, mesolithical, megalithical. Alithical eggs are those eggs which are characterized by the absence of yolk. Microlithical eggs are those eggs which are characterized by the presence of a little quantity of yolk. Mesolithical eggs are the eggs that are characterized by the presence of moderate quantity of the yolk. Whereas megalithical eggs are those eggs which contain copious greater quantities of the yolk material. And coming to another basis of classification, another type of classification, eggs are also classified based on the distribution of the yolk within the cytoplasm of the egg. Based on the distribution of yolk, the eggs are classified into telolithical, isolithical, homolithical, like that. But what are the factors that affect the distribution of the yolk? Means distribution of yolk depends on the size of the egg, shape of the egg, and gravity. Because yolk is a very dense material, automatically it gets attracted, it gets pulled towards the gravity. So, normally within the egg, the yolk is concentrated at the bottom, and the upper end, that means apex of the egg is normally devoid of the yolk content. So, like that there is one yolk rich region and yolk poor region. Anyway, of course, like that there are various factors that affect, that influence the distribution of yolk within the egg. So, first category, homolithical eggs. These eggs are also called isolithical eggs. Homolithical eggs are those eggs in which yolk is distributed uniformly inside the cytoplasm of the egg. Best example is the eggs of Annelida. Meolithical eggs. Yolk quantity is very high, no doubt, and it occupies the entire cytoplasm of the egg, leaving only a small area for the nucleus. That means the space left out for nucleus is very narrow, very limited. Whereas the major portion of the egg is occupied by the yolk content. Such eggs are called meolithical eggs. So, we can say that normally this meolithical eggs and megalithical eggs are almost synonymous in nature. Only thing is megalithical name is given based on the quantity, meolithical name is given based on the distribution of the yolk. So, here you can see as the megalithical eggs are represented by reptiles and birds, here meolithical eggs also belong to these two categories, namely reptiles and birds. And there is one more type of egg, namely telolithical eggs. So, yolk is concentrated at one pole in case of telolithical eggs. Let me draw the diagram for your understanding. For example, imagine this is egg with broader base and very narrow pointed apex, and yolk is concentrated at one pole, because I told one point, yolk being dense, it gets accumulated at the bottom of the egg. So, here normally in this area normally the yolk gets concentrated at the bottom of the egg. This pole which is totally loaded with greater quantity of yolk is called a vegetal pole. This is called vegetal pole. Whereas this end which doesn't contain much yolk, or which doesn't contain yolk at all, that is called animal pole. So that means the egg is polarized. One pole is called animal pole, which is very poor in yolk content, and another pole is called vegetal pole, which is totally loaded with greater quantities of yolk. So why the yolk content is concentrated at the vegetal pole means because vegetal pole is situated at the bottom of the egg, and automatically this yolk being dense, it is pulled towards the gravity. So such egg which is divided into animal pole and vegetal pole is called telolecithal egg. It is called telolecithal egg, we can say. So that is about one classification. And which is the best example for telolecithal type? Eggs of amphibians belong to telolecithal type. Amphibian eggs are polarized into vegetal half and animal half. Cytoplasm and nucleus are found in animal half, whereas yolk content is found greatly in the vegetal half. And telolecithal eggs are again maybe classified into slightly telolecithal, moderately telolecithal, extremely telolecithal. So in extremely telolecithal eggs, the polarity is very conspicuous. Whereas in slightly telolecithal eggs, that the polarity of animal pole and vegetal pole is not that much conspicuous. So in moderately telolecithal type of eggs, this polarity is in between this slightly telolecithal nature and extremely telolecithal nature. And coming to the centrolecithal eggs, the name itself indicates that the lecithin content, the yolk content is concentrated around the center. Normally it is seen in case of insects. Let me draw the diagram. For example, you imagine that this is a egg, and here at the center the yolk is concentrated around a particular point in the center. So such eggs are called centrolecithal eggs. If the yolk is distributed around the central point within the cytoplasm of the egg, such eggs are known as centrolecithal eggs. Of course, best example is the eggs of the insects. And there are other types of eggs called mosaic eggs. These are also called determinate eggs. In mosaic eggs, what happens? Each and every blastomere has got certain fate. That means the fate of each part of the egg, each blastomere is sealed, and the destiny of each part is predetermined. If any part of the egg is removed, the individual lacks the system that normally arises from that particular portion. So mosaic eggs, if damaged, give rise to defective embryos. For example, imagine this is the egg and these are the various blastomeres, and this part of the egg is responsible for the origin of or the development of the nervous system, and this part is responsible for the development of the alimentary canal. If this portion of the egg is damaged from which the nervous system is arising, the individual, the adult individual that is arising, that is forming from this egg, lacks that nervous system. Like that, if this portion is removed, the individual may lack the alimentary canal. That means it results in the defective embryos. In this, each and every blastomere fate is sealed, it is predetermined. So such eggs are called determinate eggs or mosaic eggs. And there is another category of egg called regulative or indeterminate eggs. If the fate of blastomere is not sealed, then such eggs are known as regulative or indeterminate eggs. That means here every blastomere has got certain potential, certain greater potential to generate any part of the body, any system. So such eggs are called regulative or indeterminate eggs. And there is one more classification based on the presence of calcium carbonate shell. If the egg contains amnion, chorion, allantois and yolk sac along with the external shell made up of calcium carbonate, such eggs are called clidoic eggs. So what is a clidoic egg? A clidoic egg is the egg that is surrounded by the calcium carbonate shell. And clidoic eggs are found for the first time in reptiles. So that is the reason why they have developed terrestrial mode of life. Up to amphibia, they did not conquer the earth totally. That means amphibians go back to water for the purpose of fertilization and reproduction, because they don't lay cleidoic eggs. For the first time, cleidoic egg has made its appearance in the reptilia. From then onwards, you find the cleidoic eggs. Even in the birds, you find cleidoic egg. You can find a wonderful conspicuous calcium carbonate shell. This makes the egg a closed system and a self-sustaining system, because this calcium carbonate shell prevents the desiccation of the embryo by preventing the evaporation of water. So, as a result, the reptilians, because of this cleidoic egg, they have conquered the terrestrial environment totally and they have become true land vertebrates. So, if the egg is covered by calcium carbonate shell, externally such eggs are called cleidoic eggs. And cleidoic eggs are found for the first time in reptiles, and it is an adaptation to terrestrial mode of life. And any egg that lacks this calcium carbonate shell can be called as non-cleidoic egg. So, what is a non-cleidoic egg? Non-cleidoic egg is the egg that lacks the calcium carbonate shell. If the eggs lack calcium carbonate shell, then such eggs are called non-cleidoic eggs. Non-cleidoic eggs are normally released into the water because there is no calcium carbonate shell. What happens if it is left on the land, if it is laid on the land? Water inside it will get evaporated, leading to the desiccation of the embryo. So, in order to prevent this desiccation of the embryo, normally this non-cleidoic eggs are released into the water medium. So, that is about the different types and the classification of the eggs. White part of the yolk is the rich source of proteins. Persons who eat raw eggs suffer from the deficiency of biotin vitamin. Eggs serve as the antioxidant boost to the body. So, this is about of course supplementary value, nutritive value of the egg. So, that is about today's class, my dear gentlemen. This is about the classification of eggs based on the quantity and distribution of the yolk material. Thank you very much. Meet you with some other topic in some other class.